do that in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like saying, yeah.
Of course he can, because he's pretty darn powerful.
Yeah, pretty much I can do anything, so why wouldn't I be able to do that as well?
Great, great. Tap on the top of the head. So now I want you to think about that project. I want you to say, it's going to be awesome. And I want you to hear what that little voice says to you.
It's going to be awesome. He's like, yeah, of course.
Of course. He's now in support of you, isn't he?
Yeah.
No more loser. You're not hearing that anymore, are you?
No, he's like, yeah.
Of course you're going to be great. Stop tapping. Open your eyes, take a deep breath. Listen for that little voice, you're a loser. Do you hear it anymore?
No.
Congratulations. Good job. When we think about trauma, we usually think about something big, like an assault, or a natural disaster, or a very serious accident. But everyday trauma, what we call little t trauma, happens to us constantly. The challenge with trauma is that the subconscious mind responds in a very specific way. It downloads all the information at the moment of trauma and stores it as a protection mechanism. So suppose you had a parent or another relative or a third grade teacher who traumatized you with a little t trauma, perhaps just by speaking to you harshly or carelessly, or in a way that now as an adult you could cope with perfectly well. When that trauma is re-triggered, say by a spouse or a work colleague, studies have shown you respond with the same maturity, emotional and mental resources that you had at the time of the original trauma.
We've all felt like a 5-year-old talking to our spouse in an argument, or they trigger us with some weird look, and all of a sudden you're back in 3rd grade. I know exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So if you feel like you're responding to your husband or wife like a 5-year-old, or feel like a 13-year-old wallflower when you're asking someone on a date, or feel like a guilty 5-year-old in your office, and wondering why you feel so incapable despite all the personal growth work that you've ever done, that's why. Now, it's perfectly normal to respond in this way, but it's not very helpful to your success. So what we're going to do with this next technique is remove the trauma trigger, the part of you that's stuck in the past, so you can respond to events in your life as the capable adult that you are.
You know, most of us have had a lot of these little t traumas in our life. And so the question is, how do you know what to clear out? Mm-hmm. And as you experience upsets in your life, what I found is useful is, as you experience upsets in your life or obstacles that occur on your path to success, you might be feeling frustrated or whatever, just stop and ask yourself, what do these upsets remind you of? Can you remember a time in your past when you felt the same way? One thing that's really useful to do is simply to close your eyes, go inside, really focus on the sensations you're feeling in your body and say, can I go back to a time when I felt exactly the same way? And that physical sensation it'll act like a little guidepost or a little road map that'll take you back. That will point you in the direction of the events that you need to work on.
Now, matrix reimprinting has enough distinct steps that I'm not going to run through them all here right now. They're in the book for you to read and use. Instead, I'll demonstrate the technique with Eleanor, and you can refer to the book in order to learn the steps. You know, when I worked with Eleanor, she reported before that she had this feeling of being invisible, that people didn't pay attention to her. And she identified an incident from her past in which, as a 5-year-old, she was ignored or rejected, in a sense, by her 14-year-old brother. You're going to see her transform the memory of that event so that now she's no longer plagued by those feelings of invisible and no one wants to listen to me.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look.
I want to do some matrix reimprinting with you on that incident that you described from your childhood with your older brother. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting because when I was reading the questionnaire that I asked you to fill out for this, one of the things I noticed was that you said you feel unloved, you feel not valued. And then when you described that incident from your childhood, I saw a direct connection between that and those feelings that still come up for you now. Does that make
Yes.
sense? That resonate with you? So let's see whether taking care of that childhood incident has an effect on those feelings of being unlovable or unloved today. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the thing I want you to do is just in a couple of sentences, set the scene for me. So go ahead and describe what happened briefly.
When I was small, when I was 4 or 5, I don't remember how old, I used to adore my older brother, and he's about 10 years older than me. And I would always kiss him and hug him. And I saw it as a way for me to, wanted to express happiness in the family. And when that summer he went away to hockey camp, and we went to go pick him up, and I went running up to hug him and kiss him and be my usual super loving and affectionate self, and he wouldn't let me do it because all his teenage hockey players were around, and he was embarrassed to have a little sibling pay attention to him.
Sure, at 14, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understandable now, but not to the 4 or 5-year-old, right? And how did you feel?
I think I felt mad. You know, how dare he not realize it was a good thing that I was appreciating him so much. And I can't remember, I felt not appreciated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how you feel about it now, even recognizing that it's not surprising for a 14-year-old, may be a little different than you felt at the time. So I actually want you to close your eyes and sort of sink in and think back to that memory and just see what kind of charge or emotion that brings up when you think about that. Can you feel the pain of the little girl? Are you feeling
It actually was embarrassment.
embarrassment?
Yeah.
It's interesting when we go
Embarrassment.
back that the emotions, when we really sink into the memory, may be even different than our emotions are of it now.
Yeah, it was humiliation.
Humiliation. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a strong word. Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Want to clear that out?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So close your eyes, tap the top of the head. And you said this was at a hockey camp that he was at? Okay. And where was it? Was this in a parking lot? Was this in a...
Right at the rink.
At the rink.
They just finished playing a game, and they're all coming off the thing. I was super excited. He's like my hero because he's super talented. And, you know, everybody loved him. I loved him.
Can you see the rink right there in front of you?
Yeah, I can smell it.
And are you in your, I'm just going to say 5-year-old. Are you in your 5-year-old body, or are you looking at yourself as a child?
Oh, I actually wasn't either. I was kind of standing there just as me.
Okay.
But no, okay, I'm in my 5-year-old body.
Okay, tap the eyebrow. And can you pull back out so that you're looking at yourself at that age?
Yep.
Okay, great. Tap the outside of the eye. Can you step into the rink as you are now as an adult? Can you step into that scene?
Yep.
Great. Okay. Tap
But me and the little...
Yes, you and
Both
the
of
little
us.
girl. Both of us. Both of you.
Okay.
Tap under the eye. Okay. So now what I want you to do is, has this already occurred? Has she run up and hugged him, or has that yet to happen?
No, she's getting ready.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and let her do that? And then...
I think my mom actually pulled my... He made faces, and I think she's pulling my arm back and saying, well, no, maybe don't do that, or I don't know.
Okay. So you're seeing the little girl do what? Being pulled back by her mom right now?
Sure, yeah, I'm not really sure, but yeah.
Okay. Tap under the nose. Some people visualize things differently. Sometimes we think our way through visualizations, and sometimes we actually see them. And it's okay either way. Neither one of those is right or wrong. Okay. Now, is the 5-year-old you, and were you called Eleanor at that time? Or?
Boo-boo.
Boo-boo, okay. Tap the chin. So is Boo-boo now feeling that embarrassment and humiliation?
Not yet.
Was she mad?
Not yet. I think I may have hugged him actually, and he just was really embarrassed and didn't, I don't know, push me away or something.
Okay. So where is she now? What's going on with her?
Just feel embarrassed, like I did the wrong, I embarrassed him, and so I feel embarrassed, like I did it was inappropriate, didn't do what he wanted me to do.
Okay, I want you to separate yourself from the little girl, though.
Okay.
So is she feeling embarrassed and you're watching? You may also be feeling embarrassed for her. But can you separate yourself from her? Okay, great. So what's going on with her?
Well, actually, this common thought I had as a child, like, this family is stupid. It's screwed up. How did I end up with this family? They're idiots.
Okay, tap the collarbone. And what I want you to do is I want you to freeze the scene so that only Boo Boo and you can see each other and talk to each other. Everyone else is frozen in time. Can you do that? Great. So go over to her and tell her you know this really cool game and ask her if you can tap on her.
Okay.
What does she say? Is she okay with that?
Yeah, she's a little distracted, but yeah.
Tap under the arm. So go ahead and, in your mind, as you're tapping now on yourself, I want you to envision tapping on her, okay?
Oh, she's ticklish.
Let's tap on the top of the head then. Let's not get her too ticklish. And ask her how she's feeling.
She says it feels good. She likes it.
She likes the tapping?
She actually likes me. She's thinking of giving me a hug and a kiss now.
How does she feel towards her older brother right now? Or towards her family? And she can give you a hug and a kiss if she wants.
Maybe just, she feels they're okay. She's just feeling disappointed.
Okay. Tap on the eyebrow. Can you tell her it's okay to feel disappointed? It's not surprising to feel disappointed?
Yeah.
And how does she respond to that?
I don't know.
Tap the outside of the eye. What's going on in the scene?
She's kind of moved on pretty quick. I mean, other than she's kind of decided, well, to heck with him. I don't know if she decided right then and there, but she did decide to transfer her affections to the older sister.
What did she decide about herself in that moment?
A whole bunch of, I don't know, I have a whole bunch of thoughts. Like, people
Okay,
don't...
hold on a second, because I don't actually want you to guess. I want you to ask her.
Okay. I'm too much. I'm not, I have too much life, energy, love, and they
Tap under the eye.
don't know what to do with it.
And they don't know what to do with it. Yeah. Is that the kind of thing she's saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Tap under the nose. And how does that make her feel? She has too much love, too much life. They don't know what to do with it. How's she feeling about that?
A little stagnant, disappointed.
Now, stagnant's not a word that a 5-year-old would use. Ask her.
I was an unusual 5-year-old.
I will believe that.
Okay.
Good. Tap on the chin. So I want to know what she...
Just ask the question again, please.
How are you feeling right now, Boo Boo?
I don't know what the words are. This mostly just disappointed, yeah. Disappointed because, he's having fun with the game. I'm expressing furthering of the excitement of everybody cheering for the game. And I don't have any way to express the enjoyment of it, the fun, the appreciation and happiness about it. And so I'm not significant. The way I'm doing it's not right.
Now you've got it. Now you're tuned in, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, tap the collarbone. Good job. Good job. So what do you know, Eleanor, now, as an adult, that you can share with Boo Boo to help her? Do you have something that can help her?
I think, well, the main thing I would just tell her is like, you know what, it doesn't matter. Just keep doing it, and, you know, that's just their problem. And they like it anyway. You know, they like what you're doing. You just keep being yourself.
Because actually her 14-year-old brother would probably like it if he weren't surrounded by his hockey friends, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
She can do whatever she wants in this moment. So I want you to, in the rink, I want you to imagine reaching in your back pocket and pulling out a magic wand and give it to her.
She really likes
She
that.
likes the magic wand, doesn't she?
Yeah, like she's starting to point it at a lot of things, just bing, 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 bing.
Tap under the arm and ask her if she'd like it if her brother hugged and kissed her back like he always likes to when he's not surrounded by his hockey buddies. Does she want that? Would she like that?
She would like it actually if he put her up on his shoulder and, you know, carried her like a trophy because he's happy about winning the game too.
She can wave the magic wand and have that happen.
Yeah.
Does she want to?
I think she already did. We're already marching through,
around.
and she's actually got the wand, and she's like waving it around.
That's great. That's great. Tap the top of the head. How's she feeling now?
She feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she feels good.
You can tell. Do you need to ask her? Like, ask her. Does she feel loved?
Yeah, she does.
Does she feel appreciated?
Yeah,
Like
she
she's
does.
valued for her contribution?
And it feels like the key, though, was for her to just decide that, to just, you know, be it anyway and not take as a cue out people's reactions, you know. She just kind of went, oh, no, wait a second, I'm in charge here.
Great. Tap the eyebrow point. And ask her if there's anything else she wants from you right now.
Yeah. She said just that she'd like me to hang out with her and just, you know, be there.
Hang out with you just now or any time?
All the time.
All the time.
You know, just...
Are you willing to do that? Like, are you willing to say to her, I will be there when you call for me?
Yep.
Yeah. So tell her that. Anything else she wants from you right now?
Yeah, she just wants me to remind her to just be herself and not worry about that, you know, most people are a little stuck, and that just be yourself and you're the leader. You're the leader.
You're the leader. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Tap under the eye. So now what I want you to do is I want you to imagine beginning to make the journey back. You were decades in the past, and now you're coming back. Don't come all the way. Come to a point where you're in the field, in the matrix, where everything is energy and you are outside of time. Can you imagine that? Tap under the nose. And now I want you to imagine who you would be today if that had happened. If a woman had shown up and given you a magic wand, and your brother had lifted you on his shoulders and taken you around the rink, celebrating the win. Can you see that? I want you to take that picture of Boo Boo, of you on his shoulders, marching victorious around the rink. I want you to take that in as an image through the top of your head and let it come down through every cell of your body. Tap on the chin. And then I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to exhale that image out through your heart into the world around you, becoming your new reality. Tap on the collarbone. There's one more thing I want you to do before you come back. I want you to look with your awareness for the woman who always promised she would be there and tell you that you're the leader. She's still there. Can you feel her? Does she have anything to say to you right now? Tap onto the arm. And when you're ready, come all the way back to the present. Take a deep breath. When you think about that incident in your childhood, does it still look the same way it did 10 minutes ago?
No.
What's the memory of it? Sometimes memories shift, like we'll literally remember the new memory you just put in, or it will feel like it's behind a cloud or a screen or something. Is there anything that shifted with you around that?
I think I'm on his shoulder, and everybody's celebrating.
So you see the new memory now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you think about whether you're lovable or whether you're important, how does it feel? Has it changed?
Yeah, and mostly what I'm aware of now is that everybody's been loving me all along, and it wasn't me being able to receive it because it was all my thoughts about
it not
Yeah,
being
so
there.
it feels like, there's plenty of love.
Well, there.
Yeah.
Beautiful work. Great realization.
Yeah.
That the love was, you don't even have to work for it. It's
Yeah.
already there.
I'm
All you
getting
need to
better at
do
receiving
was
it. Yeah.
drop the shields.
Yeah, and accept myself.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Really good work.
Yeah, thank you.
Sometimes we can be more aware of sensation in our bodies than we are clear in our thoughts. And when you're focusing on some issue or event that gives you a certain bodily sensation, we can actually use tapping to clear the sensation and often the issue without necessarily even knowing what the thoughts are behind it. That will disappear as well.
This is great for people who tend to be more kinesthetic, who are more oriented to feelings than to words or visual images. One of the important things to remember about sensation tapping is, like any other tapping technique, you're not trying to change or force the sensation. You're just observing it and letting it change on its own. Sometimes sensations will move to other parts of your body, they'll shift around, or they'll change as you tap. So we'll just follow the sensation and keep tapping on whatever is still present. You're going to see us do this now with Dina. Dina came with a particular fear that she experienced in her body as a sensation. Dina said she's very kinesthetic. She often uses feelings and she has sensations in her body. So sensation tapping is perfect for her. What you'll see in this demo is very interesting. It didn't turn out the way either one of us expected it to. We were both looking, I think, for the sensation to diminish or evaporate, and instead it transformed so that she had power in the situation. But anyway, let's watch.
Okay, good.
Dina, you were telling me that you were watching the other volunteers that we've been working with and tapping along with them, even though your issues aren't exactly the same as theirs. And what have you been experiencing?
Well, it surprised me, actually, because I was more just a little nervous for my turn, so I wanted to kind of get my practice in. But while I was tapping along, even though it wasn't my issue, I was really getting into what they were experiencing, and I was experiencing relief and release as well. So I think it's highly effective to tap along, even if it's not, an issue that you're experiencing.
Excellent. I'm glad you're having that experience.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
So now let's work with you on your issue of sensation tapping. What I want to do with sensation tapping is we're going to drop into the body. Often with tapping, it's fairly intellectual, it's verbal, and we're dealing with our words and our thoughts. And in sensation tapping, we want to get in touch with whatever feeling might be in a body around a thought or an emotion that we have. So you had a particular fear. You want to give me just a sentence or two about your fear?
Sure. I'm starting my own business. I've got a book coming out, and I'm launching a coaching business. And I've been working part-time to pay the bills. And at the end of this year, in just 6 weeks, I'm going to be quitting that job. And I feel like I'm cutting that cord of my safety net. And my gut is telling me all signs point to yes, but still I feel this paralyzing fear that I'd really like to let go of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and why don't you close your eyes and just drop into your body and go ahead and feel that fear. You're cutting that cord, your safety net. In just a few weeks, no more part-time job. Is there a place in your body that you experience that fear?
Yeah, actually, it's like right underneath where my heart is, right here.
Okay. And on a scale of 0 to 10, how strong is that?
At least it's like an 8.
Okay, so go ahead and start tapping the top of the head. You can keep your eyes closed if you want.
Okay.
Because I want you to continue to focus on your body. And we're going to work on this fear just from that feeling of sensation. So you said it was right there, sort of at your solar plexus?
It's like a brick, a lead brick that's like really long and takes up the whole space here.
Okay, great description. Tap on the eyebrow. And does it cause you pain? Does it have a feeling like heaviness or tingly?
Totally heavy, really heavy, paralyzingly heavy. Can't move.
Okay. Tap the outside of the eye. Now, the one thing I want you to do is don't actually try to change the brick. I just want you to notice it. You're just going to continue observing it as you tap. And if it starts to shift or change, I want you to let me know, but don't try to force it yourself, okay? Okay. So how big is this lead brick?
Well, it's like only a couple inches tall, but it's like 8 inches long and as wide as my body.
Okay. Tap onto the eye. Is there anything else you can tell me about it? You said it's lead. Does it have a color?
Yeah, it's dark gray, heavy, drab, yucky looking.
Tap under the nose. Does it have a smell or a taste to it?
If you were to get close to it, it'd probably smell like metal or something.
Okay.
Cold, hard.
Tap on the chin. Is it still exactly the same as when you started tapping, or has it changed?
Well, actually, now that I said metal, it's kind of more metal-y, but it's still heavy and ugly.
Okay. Tap on the collarbone. What else can you tell me about that?
It's a little bit shiny.
Is it maintaining its size and shape and density?
Yeah, it's kind of floating, moving a little bit, like a seesaw.
Okay. Tap under the arm. And just repeat after me. I have this dark gray lead brick in my solar plexus.
I have a dark gray lead brick in my solar plexus.
Tap the top of the head. All that fear is being stored in my solar plexus.
All that fear is being stored in my solar plexus.
Keep watching that brick. Tap on the eyebrow point. As you continue to tap, just observe the brick. Tap the outside of the eye. Is it still the same?
It's a slightly skinnier,
From top to bottom or side to side?
like thickness, width.
Okay. Tap under the eye. Just observe it. Is it staying the same or changing still?
It's moving quite a bit.
Okay.
It's still the same size. It seems to maybe not have lost its lightness, but there's something around it that's able to move it,
Okay.
which I didn't know about that it could move before.
Okay. Tap under the nose. Is it moving as though it's controlled by something or like it's floating on water?
Like there's a force in there that can get rid of it if the force gets strong enough.
Okay. Tap on the chin. What else?
It's wobbly. It's not as before. It felt like heavy, stable, immobile. And now it's like uncertain. It's wobbly in there. Still kind of big and stuff, but wobbly.
Okay. Tap on the collarbone. What else can you tell me about that?
It's the same.
Okay. It doesn't necessarily have to change for you to continue to describe it.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's like the way that it's moving, kind of unsteady. It's almost like the way that it would be floating if it was in the ocean, those unpredictable waves, the way that it kind of floats on top of those. It's moving in an unpredictable way.
Fear does that sometimes.
You know it does.
Tap under the arm. Is it still moving? More? Less?
More.
More?
More wobbly, more, you realize even though it's heavy, it's Not as serious as you think it is.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, even though how heavy it is, you know, because if you were to throw a piece of real heavy metal in the ocean would still have its way with it. So it doesn't really matter how big it is if the force around it can, you know, just kind of get rid of it or play with it how it likes to.
Are you really aware of the force around it now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
What's that force like?
Well, it's very moving, and it's way stronger than the metal. It's fluid, though. It's not stiff like the metal.
Top of the head. Is there a color to that force?
Not yet.
Okay. Would you describe it as energy or force? Or?
Yeah, it's like the energy. The best way I can say it is like how the ocean waves are. Totally powerful, but still it's only just water, but even so, it's very powerful.
Tap the eyebrow. And what's happening with that lead bar now?
Okay. Well, it flipped over. That was new. So it flipped over so that oceany force is playing with it almost. Yeah.
Tap the outside of the eye. Does it feel as heavy to you?
No. Oh my gosh, it's so not very heavy at all. It's almost like hilarious how heavy I thought it was.
Tap under the eye. Does it feel like it's got the same, it felt almost ominous before, like it had a power over
Yeah,
you.
I kind of forgot, but yeah, it did.
And now it doesn't seem to have that. It's almost like you're laughing at it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like cute how strong I thought it was or something.
Tap under the nose. Anything else about it? Is it still the same size and shape, though?
Yeah, but the force around it's gotten like totally way bigger, so it seems smaller in comparison.
Okay. Tap on the chin. Anything else about the scene for now?
No, just that it's getting smaller in the perspective, and the force is, you know, it's quite obviously very bigger, very much bigger.
Stop tapping. Take a deep breath. Now, when you look at that fear, how does your fear look now?
You know, I got so caught up in that object, I forgot that it really was the fear. But I really, you know, it feels like there is a force inside of me that's way stronger than that. And it doesn't have to, you know, as long as I keep that growing and strengthening and in motion, the weight of that fear is nothing compared to the, you know, the strength around it.
Great, great. You can do a lot of different things with a fear. You can use any of the different tapping techniques on it to play with it. It might end up shrinking of its own accord, or it might be that, again, you go through a day and you look for the fear and you can't find it. It's disappeared into the ocean of the force. I don't know if that will happen or not. It's something to continue to play with, but already you can feel the level of fear in you feels completely different.
Yeah.
It's like I'm no longer a victim of my fear.
Yeah. It's like I felt like I was underneath it before. It was this overpowering force, and now I'm kind of looking down and I have that perspective of it being much smaller.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I was going to say that energy is your high self. So when you're looking down on it, that makes total sense. That is your essence, which is much bigger than any fear that can ever stop you. Good job.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Firm stand tapping is great for clearing out the resistance to an affirmation. It looks a little like an argument. And we're going to alternate our affirmation with all of the reasons why we can't achieve that or it doesn't feel true.
You may need to do a number of rounds of tapping before the affirmation feels 100% true. Here's a hint. Use a choice statement for your affirmation because it's easier to have that feel true. You can always choose a certain thing in the given moment. So, for example, rather than saying, I am this way, you can say, I choose to be this way. You don't want to speak very quickly as you're doing this technique because you're looking for the feeling of the affirmation and then the feeling of the objection to the affirmation. So don't just say the words, feel how true they feel to you. Firm stand tapping is a great technique for discovering all the different aspects of an issue. As you speak the affirmation and new objections occur to you, you can even jot them down. So at the end, you can make sure they've all been taken care of. You can even switch to another tapping method if you find an objection that you'd like to work on with a different method. We're going to demonstrate this now with Bob. first, you'll see that we did firm stand tapping with him. What he thought was his issue was not truly his issue. And that came out during the firm stand tapping. So we stopped the firm stand and we went into an SOS tapping routine to clear the challenges to him moving ahead in creating his new business. Now, Bob is a beautiful man. He's a very wonderful physician who's now creating a job as a speaker to help other doctors live their lives more powerfully. And he is very low key, but you'll notice that he's got a lot of strong emotion stopping him from moving forward. And then it all transforms into ease and to emotions that he'd much rather feel. So let's watch. Bob, I want to work on that question that you had using the firm stand tapping technique. So would you give me that question again, and then we can sort of take it apart and put it into the tapping?
Sure. So the question that I'm trying to work through is, how do I most effectively share my message with the people that I'm trying to reach so that they can experience the transformation that I'm trying to help them with?
Great, great. And you're a physician and a speaker. And here's the thing. Because we talked, and I know that you actually have a fear around this, I'm going to suggest that it's not a question, that it's actually a statement that we like to phrase as a question. So we like to say something like, how could I ever do this? Or how can I effectively communicate? When in fact the fear is, I can't effectively communicate. You may have a question as well. You know, intellectually you're working on the question, but the fear is that I can't do it. Does that ring true for you?
That feels right.
Yeah. So on a scale of 0 to 10, when you really sink into the fear, because I know you've done a lot of work and intellectually you've got it up here. When you sink into the fear, how strong is it?
It's getting higher as I think about it.
That often happens when we tune in.
Yeah. I think that fear is probably somewhere around a 7, 8.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of fear on many things, but with this one, it's kind of focusing, and I think it's probably a 7, 8.
Yeah, because this is everything you want to do. I mean, it's your mission in life and it's your financial future as well, right? Okay.
Right.
So with firm stand tapping, what we do is we take a statement that you'd like to believe emotionally, and you're going to state that every other tapping point, and in between, you're going to shift from that to sort of what the little voice is saying or what you're really feeling inside. So let's craft a statement that you'd like to believe. What would you say based on that fear? What would you say the opposite of that is? What you really want to embrace emotionally?
That I'm completely effective at sharing my message and helping people achieve transformation.
Beautiful. Okay. I am completely effective at sharing my message and helping people achieve transformation. Is that it? Beautiful. I love it. Okay. And so when you say that, how true does that statement probably feels true in one sense. It's like, yes, yes, I love that. And it resonates with you. And then there's that fear of a 7 that you can't. Right?
Well, I know that when I'm connecting with people and sharing, that's happened. So I know what it feels like to have it happen, to be there. But my success in moving forward is dependent on doing that for many people. So and they're a group. I'm working with physicians and healthcare providers that I find sometimes tough to receive messages that are outside the box for them.
Okay, so actually what I'm going to suggest is, this is great, and as we do the firm stand tapping, this will probably come up. This is one aspect of it. Part of it is, am I a completely effective communicator, or I'm not? And the other part is, and can they receive the message? Do you see those as two different aspects?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So let's start the firm stand tapping, and we may run through multiple aspects of this, all right?
Okay.
So we start here, and you start by stating that beautiful affirmation, I am a completely effective communicator.
I am a completely effective communicator.
Finish it.
And I'm a completely effective communicator sharing my message and helping people experience a transformation.
Great. Tap the eyebrow. Now, what's in the way? What's not true with regard to that statement?
That I am not able to effectively communicate my message.
Okay. Tap the outside of the eye. State the affirmation again.
I am a completely effective communicator at sharing my message.
Great. Tap under the eye. Okay. And what's in the way of that? What fear or doubt comes up when you say that? It may be that that's baloney, or it may be, or I have doubts, or what actually comes up for you?
That I'm not able to really that I'm not able to articulate. I'm not able to share. That I'm not able to reach the people that I'm trying to reach.
Okay, good. Tap under the nose. I am a completely effective. Go ahead.
I am completely effective at communicating my message and helping people experience a transformation.
Beautiful. On the chin. Okay. What's the doubt?
Right now, I'm just seeing an empty room. That I don't have people to share it with.
Great. Okay. Can you see how this is bringing up all the concerns and the fears and the different aspects?
I do, yeah.
Tap on the collarbone. Say your affirmation again.
I am completely effective at communicating my message and helping people experience a transformation.
Beautiful. Tap under the arm. What's up? Is it still the empty room, or is it something else?
Now I was envisioning myself on the phone speaking to an empty line.
Tap the top of the head. Say your affirmation again.
I am completely effective at communicating my message and helping people experience a transformation.
Tap the eyebrow. What comes up?
That's not true.
Okay. Why not?
Because I actually believe that I can communicate effectively.
Tap the outside of the eye. Make your statement, positive statement again.
I'm completely effective at communicating my message and helping people experience a transformation.
Great. Tap under the eye. Doubts, fears, what comes up?
I'm still coming back to that. That there aren't enough people present to actually hear the message.
Okay, great. So stop tapping. Take a deep breath. So here's what we've done with this. Because at this point, to continue with firm stand tapping, we'd actually have to shift the affirmation. Your affirmation was, I'm a completely effective communicator, which was one fear that you had. Now, I'm going to actually suggest that that fear has diminished or gone away, that you can communicate your message. But three other things have come up in its place. One is, I can't